Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Magic the Gathering. I'm Tim.
I'm Platypeople.
Thanks for coming back. We're excited to have you back on the podcast.
Yeah, always fun to talk about cards, chat about some cards. And it's fun today that I didn't make any of these cards, so a different take on things.
Yeah. We've got our challenge review episode. Every month we do a design challenge, and this month's design challenge was Nouveau-mber. Apologies to our French listeners. Design a card that uses something new to Magic this year, like new creature type, new keyword, mechanic, etc. Brad also gave us some bonus points to shoot for here to try to stack those up, to try to use more than one new thing on a card. So we'll have our eyes out for that.
I think there's a couple that really went to town. Got a whole year in review on just one card. We'll see.
Yeah. When we had this challenge, Ixalan was still kind of being revealed to us. So this is going to be everything before Ixalan. So we got All Will Be One, March the Machine, Aftermath, Lord of the Rings, Eldraine, a bunch of Commander stuff. Doctor Who would probably be the most notable Commander thing. Do you want to read us our first card here?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so we're starting off with a saga, a multicolored saga. Strange Attends the Wedding. 1 white, black. 3 mana. Yeah. A 3-chapter saga. Chapter 1, scry 3. If only one of those cards remains on top, draw a card. Chapter 2, the ring tempts you. So there's our first new moment here. A doctor cannot be your ring bearer. There's so 2 newbies just in that chapter alone. Chapter 3, create a 6/6 red alien creature token. That creature fights your ring bearer. Oh man. And if you don't control a ring bearer, you lose 6 life. You gotta find a beefy ring bearer if you don't want to take some pain from this saga.
Yeah. The picture here, I think, is from Doctor Strange, one of the Doctor Strange movies.
I guess so. We've got MCU as the art credit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. I think this was, I don't remember her name, Christine, maybe, it is Doctor Strange's love interest in the first movie, but moves on by the time of the second movie. So he's kind of looking at her and wants to be there, but I don't think is getting married to her. But he wants to.
With a respectful distance, he's attending.
I don't quite remember the movie well enough to know what the 6/6 alien was.
Yeah, does he incur the wrath of some cosmic being and ruin this woman's wedding inadvertently? I don't know. I'll have to go check out Marvel fandom Wikipedia after.
Maybe Cryptrat, who designed this card, can also check in and let us know what we didn't quite understand here.
Absolutely. What's the cheapest 7 toughness creature you can get onto the battlefield? If I want to play this on turn 3, I want to get my full value. What am I making the ring bearer to make sure that I don't lose 6 life?
I need like a wall or something, some like 08 or something.
I don't even know if they make 08s that cheap. Are there any cheap indestructible things?
Oh, okay. Well, I do have a turn in between to set up. Maybe on my turn 4, I can play my 08.
If you want to use this tempt, you've got to have something ready to go right after your draw step after you play this.
Oh, okay. An indestructible ring bearer. Was there a way to get indestructible in the Lord of the Rings set? I don't know.
Maybe one of the Frodos or something. I don't know.
Frodo fighting a giant alien.
That's the dream of Universes Beyond, right? Is something like that going down? So it's all happening just on this.
That's true. Were aliens new to this year? I can't remember if there were aliens before. Did Warhammer have aliens?
Infinity, right?
Oh, Infinity. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's actually a bunch of Infinity aliens. There's 6 or 7 of them, it looks like.
Okay. That's 3 then. That was a sneaky 3rd new thing on the card.
Was Infinity this year?
Oh, no, you're right. Infinity was 2022 because it was the same. It came out like the same day as Warhammer.
Yeah.
In like October last year. Okay.
I was just listening to that Infinity podcast, like the Mark Rosewater Drive to Work. He just had an episode on like lessons learned from Infinity. That
Hmm.
the launch of that was so cursed. They're like, "Hey, we're going to shoot for April 1st. This is a perfect day to launch Infinity." Oh, but the glue factory went out of business, so we can't ship these stickers. And instead, we're going to launch the same day as another novelty product. Uh,
Well, and it's like the best-selling thing they ever made.
yeah, and it was like a
That's the-
huge breakthrough for like, oh yeah, they can make like whole commander decks out of whole cloth, and they're really fun to play and powerful, have a lot of desirable cards, and then pour Infinity in the corner, just being goofy.
Mhm.
Do you play Infinity? Do you end up doing a
I
draft of that?
didn't. I didn't.
No, me either.
I hadn't done too many in-person events or anything
Same.
like that in
Yeah.
time frame, and so I happened to miss Infinity. It was a little overwhelming in the spoiler season. It was fun to follow the spoiler season, but I kind of resonated with what Mark said in the podcast of like, you have to care about so much if you're going to play these cards. And I was like, it was hard to keep in my head all the things that, even just reading the cards to try and think about the set and not even playing with it. How many different things have I got to think about?
Yeah, you've got a bunch of sticker sheets that all have different powers and toughnesses and sticker costs and all that kind of stuff. I do want to play it sometime, but I yeah, the same as you. I haven't really been doing that much in person, and definitely back then wasn't doing much in person drafting. But back on Strange here, if we can get our big creature to survive the alien, then that's awesome. If I have just like a crappy creature that I can say, hey, take this ring. And then, I at least get, 3 mana, I draw a card, I sack a creature sort of, and I get a 6/6 and lose 6 life. That's like kind of an okay deal.
You could absolutely do worse.
I think the comedy value, though, of the Doctor cannot be your ring bearer is really the home run of this card.
Some random future set that's like in a hospital or something. Sorry, you don't get to use this card.
Alrighty, next up is from Simic Toadstool, who's been on the Discord and even has a channel going, but is new to to submitting design challenge stuff. So new, new submitter.
Welcome, Simic Toadstool.
And they sent us Tandem Ally, which is 3 blue for a creature shapeshifter at rare. It says 0/0, but you might guess. You may have Tandem Ally enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature you control, except it gains backup 1.
Ow.
Okay, this I feel like this is going to be a little complicated.
This gets the gears turning very quickly, yes.
So I have a creature on the battlefield already that has a really desirable ability. Then I play Tandem Ally. It enters as that creature, but my Tandem Ally has backup, so I can give those really desirable abilities either to Tandem Ally or to some third creature.
Yes.
Okay.
At the very least, it's the worst case scenario is a 5 mana kind of spark doubly type thing because you could still back up itself and be like a copy that's a little bit bigger. So that's not a bad fail case at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Then if I'm doing something a little more advanced, do you get ETB? You don't get ETBs with backup, right?
I don't think so. At least not the way they structured it, or because they got really specific about like, oh, this part of the card is the backup part, and this part of the card.
Oh yeah. You're right. So it's like usually like when this deals combat damage to a player. Those are the kinds of things that backup is good at.
Or activated abilities. There were a couple of those. The Voldaren Thrill Seeker is I guess the big one that has kind of shown out. That's that pattern.
Yeah, that gives like flinging to creatures. And the creatures have whatever abilities they had already. So if I want to target like my little flyer, it can gain some really good, combat damage abilities.
Yeah, for sure.
I played the other day against one of the ancient dragons from Battle for Baldur's Gate, which are these humongous dragons that then have like humongous combat damage triggers.
Like roll a d20, get that many treasures.
Yeah. And so like ancient silver dragon, if I really need to like roll 2d20 and get 2d20, draw 2d20 cards or get 2d20 treasures. My Tandem Ally can help me go way over the top.
The rich get richer.
Yeah. If you're going to play one of those, slap it on the table, you really should be ready to go all the way over the top because you're kind of already veering into archenemy territory, having one ancient dragon on the battlefield.
Yes.
This is the kind of card to me that is like, its general case is not that exciting, but you're putting together a commander deck and you realize like, oh, this is actually awesome with my commander. Now I can give my commander's ability to a bunch of other creatures. And that's maybe where this shines for me.
You kind of read it. It's not a lot of text, but then once you kind of let it sit for a little bit, the implications start to reveal themselves.
Mm-hmm. If you take this as one of your 2 or 3 rares in a draft deck, do you think you'll usually find a thing to do with this, or is it more like the fail case that you mentioned? I just get like a big clone.
It is true that if I'm taking this, I want to do something broken with it. I don't want to just play it as a clone. So if I take it, I would maybe, if I'm feeling frisky, I would take it and try and find, like you said, saboteur triggers, cheap but impactful activated abilities to try and make it work.
Yeah, and I guess the clones that are like clones of creatures you control, those are like extra kind of risky to do in limited. Like you might not have a good enough creature. If you're playing blue, what's the chance that you have a big creature that you're going to copy? Maybe not super high.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess this would copy things like lords or anything like that. So I could get like a double lord bonus. Like all my creatures get +2/+2 now instead of +1/+1. Or
Oh yeah, you're right. This would be pretty interesting in a kindred deck, in a typal deck, where it's gonna be whatever type you want, and doubling those types of things actually maybe push a board into being more aggressive than it could be able to be. Would be able to increase the amount of aggression that this low to the ground creature deck is capable of.
Loving it. Alrighty, yeah. Thanks for that card.
Next, from the Void Knight, we have a double-faced card. The front face here is a Wurmhole, spelled as a magic worm, not just a space wormhole. We've got a nice tentacle kind of reaching out from either an asteroid or a portal or something. It's 1 and a blue for a legendary enchantment creature, Time Worm. Okay, so time, that type, that's in there. Okay, one new thing. 2 and a blue, activated ability. Exile the Wurmhole, then return it to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control. Activate only if you own 3 or more cards in exile. We've got backup 1. And then the thing that the backup grants, so you backup 1, you don't get that first activated ability. You only get this other ability. Paradox, third new thing.
Yeah.
Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, exile this creature with 2 time counters on it. It gains suspend. To 0/4.
Maybe we'll break down the front side here because there's already a lot, and then we'll head into the back side.
I think that makes sense to me. Paradox also from the Doctor Who set. That's the ability word that the keys off of casting spells from places that aren't your hand.
It reads like a downside on this card.
I agree. I was like on board. I was like, okay, this is asking me to do something. It's legendary. It could be my commander. But then, yeah, somehow I don't want to be casting too many exile spells or graveyard spells while this is in play.
The flavor text. The bonus points are stackable after all. I like the shout out to the bonus points on the flavor text. As kind of like a creature on its own, it's a 1 and a blue for, you can make it a 1/5, so you can have your wall if you want it. And then if I want to grant this paradox ability, I can with backup.
Remind me again. We didn't get reminder text on this one, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Can you only back up your own creatures?
Oh.
Is that what this is? You can send one of your opponent's creatures to the Shadow Realm? Let's see here.
When this enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature.
Whoa.
If that's another creature, it gains the following abilities until end of turn. Okay, so I could give the curse of the Wurmhole to something else. Okay.
But then if you give it to an opponent, then doesn't that opponent have to be the one to flashback something while that ability's on it to banish it? Like, I don't think you can trigger that.
Yeah, because you're giving the ability to the creature. You're not. I think you're right. Yeah. So I guess
The puzzle continues.
yeah. When would this be good? You think your opponent's going to interrupt you during your turn,
Yeah.
but not yet. So you say, "Hey, if you do try to interrupt me, you're going to the wormhole with me."
Yes.
I think it was a good idea to check the opponent thing, but that might not quite work out for us. All right, so with this card, I want to get a bunch of stuff exiled. I can only really get one thing exiled, so this wormhole is like kind of only okay at setting up its flip trigger.
Mhm.
And we don't know yet how good that backside is, but maybe it's really sick. So maybe it's a quest that I really want to try. I guess like activate only if you own 3 or more cards in exile. You can do that with like a Bajuka Bog or something. Just exile your graveyard
That's what I was.
or delve or something.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, some kind of turbo, just like play Treasure Cruise or play Bojuka Bog. I'd be happy.
Yeah.
So, the backside here is the Universal Rift, which is Legendary Enchantment Saga, another saga, 3 chapters. Chapter 1, get an emblem with you may cast spells from the top of your library by removing a counter from a permanent you control or a card you own in exile in addition to paying their other costs. Okay. Always love an emblem.
Mm-hmm.
And then chapters 2 and 3 are the same. They are create 2 3/3 blue enchantment worm creature tokens with backup 1, and whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
Whoa. Okay, so the backside of this card is really juiced.
Very worth. I'm trying to get that frontside activated ability activated as quickly as possible because this is incredible.
Yeah. Even just this emblem is kind of cool. Before I get to the bottom part, you get an emblem with where you may cast cards from the top of your library by removing a counter from a permanent you control, like a +1/+1 counter or a saga thing, or a card you own in exile in addition to paying other costs. I could eat those time counters. If I have a million time counters going, I'm floating a bunch of stuff in the air. I could eat those time counters and get my stuff back out quickly, I guess.
Yeah, really accelerates suspend. You can remove counters from this and just keep getting 3/3s forever.
Yeah, I go to chapter 2, then 3, then 2, then 3, then 2, then 3. Yeah, and just okay. And that's just if I have stuff on the top of my library that's castable. That's the sort of requirement of this emblem, is that there's something on top of the library that I want to cast. I don't even really care what it is at this point.
Absolutely. Cards are cards.
Yeah. And then each time this chapter 2 or 3 triggers, each of those generate 2 3/3s. So I don't get 1 3/3 twice. I get 2 3/3s twice. And they have backup, so they're kind of 4/4s. And then they have I think this is the 13th Doctor's ability. Like when Paradox, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
Very self-fueling. There's so many different ways. This gives you counters, both itself and the +1/+1 counters. So
Yeah.
I don't think you ever run out of stuff to do for the rest of the game if you ever manage to flip this.
I was just looking at one with the multiverse earlier, which is like the future sight. Hey, you can look at the top of your library, cast things off the top of your library, and sometimes do it for free. This Universal Rift feels at least on the same level as that card. And that's like 8 mana.
Yeah.
Because I get like permanent future sight as long as I have counters, and probably a bunch of worms.
Yes.
All right, so this backside is incredible. The front side, I'm still feel like we still never really cracked the code on why this paradox clause is here.
I mean, maybe it needs this downside because the backside's amazing. So it's like you can't. There's no free lunch here. You've got to find some way to get around this.
Yeah.
It's going to disappear itself if you're not careful. To get a game-winning payoff in several different ways.
Yeah, so I kind of just want to like wait until I have 5 mana and 3 cards in exile. Cast the Wurmhole and immediately flip it.
Absolutely. And this is a legendary creature, so this can sit in the command zone and just be like, it's coming any day.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in this card. I think maybe this card could do less and still be great. But, we did talk about stackable bonus points, so maybe that's our fault.
Yes. If anything, they were constrained. They picked, okay, we're doing backup, we're doing time, and we're doing paradox, and that's what's on the front side and the back side.
That's true. It is at least kind of connected between the front and the back.
I am curious who provided the art here. They did not provide artist credit. It's a pretty cool drawing. I'd love to hear from the Void Knight on if this is a personal piece or AI generated or wherever it was. Would like to know.
I think the Void Knight has submitted some of their own artwork before. Next up is from Red Bay. This is going to be Rocket Raccoon, the Marvel character. We got 1 blue-red, so 3 mana for a legendary creature, Raccoon Scientist. It's a 3/3, and it's got a lot of abilities. It has First Strike, Haste. It deals combat damage to creatures in the form of oil counters. Okay. And then it has protection from creatures with oil counters on them. And then I did not expect that. And then the final ability here is 3 red, 5 mana, tap, and sacrifice an artifact. Rocket Raccoon deals 3 damage to each creature with oil counters on it. He's got kind of like a sludge gun, I guess.
Yeah.
He's just spraying people with all kinds of alien gas sludge, and then he sets them all on fire.
He is a bit of a pyromaniac, so this is on theme for sure. I
guess this is our second Marvel reference, and the Marvel cards haven't come out yet, but I guess they were announced this year, so maybe it's like a half bonus, a half credit. Yeah.
And they made a big deal of that announcement too. That was an announcement of an announcement of an announcement. They wanted us to know that this was happening. It's in Vision Design right now.
The shareholders want to get that number up a couple points. All right, so Rocket here. Rocket Raccoon's kind of hard to kill. He doesn't immediately kill creatures when he hits them. If you block with your 2/2 or something, he'll first strike and oil you up, and then you'll hit back, but you're oiled up so he doesn't take damage. Which is kind of a cool drawbacky thing. I guess, I don't know if this totally matches Rocket, because I imagine him shooting a lot of people, but the idea that you've got this guy who's not that great at fighting, but he can just douse everyone in oil and set up a huge explosion later. That's really appealing. I like that idea for a mechanic.
Absolutely. I think all the pieces here work really well together. I also like that kind of each creature only gets to block Rocket once, because once they get the oil counters on them, they can't block him in the future. So you can throw a 2/2 in front of him and the 2/2 survives, but he's just going to keep swinging. And if you run, if all your creatures get oiled up, all of a sudden he's hitting for 3, he's dealing damage, and you've got to find some way to use those creatures before that activated ability comes online.
And they can still damage other creatures. Once you've been oiled up, you can still do other things. Yeah. I think you give Rocket like a goop gun in this picture, and this is a 10 out of 10 card for me. I see like an actual machine gun. It kind of breaks the flavor connection a little bit, but yeah, I think we agree that the mechanics, the text box on this card is great. It really works well together. It seems fun. The haste is really fun. He's really reckless, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I like how the kind of the blue mana at first you're like, how does this really contribute? But I think in play the card will really feel blue in terms of being able to hit creatures in combat and kind of ignore creatures and be like, I am existing outside of this plebeian creature combat, but while still getting the red feel of I'm attacking, I have first strike, I have haste, I'm getting in there. I love this.
Yeah, this is a cool card.
Alrighty, our next card is from Patrick. They have sent us a battle. Very excited to see if and when they get used in the future. Battle for Weathertop. It's 2 mana, green-white, for a 4 defense battle siege. So the siege subtype, meaning it's going to work the same way that the battles in March of the Machine worked. When Battle for Weathertop enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Then you may create a young hero role, just the points keep coming, attached to your ring bearer. And if you happen to defeat this 4 defense battle, you get to cast the backside. Glorfindel, Swift Rescuer, legendary creature Elf Noble, to 2/2 with backup 1. And at the beginning of your end step, if this creature attacked this turn, return target creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Flavor text: it is you, Frodo, and that which you bear that brings us all in peril. All right. I think this might actually be the bonus point winner at this point in the review.
Yeah, because we got a battle, we got the ring bear, we got young hero, we got backup, and I guess we got Lord of the Ring flavor. I guess Ring Tempts You. We already got Lord of the Rings there. Yeah. Weathertop, that's like early on when we first have like Strider is guiding the hobbits around. And then a bunch of the Nazgul find him and they have to fight.
All right. So is Glorfindel kind of a reluctant guardian of the hobbits then with this flavor text? I'm not a big Lord of the Rings buff myself.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know it that well either. I think Glorfindel he's like one of the elves along with Galadriel, I think. They're all reclusive. They don't really want to intervene. How good is this friend side? So a green and a white, ETB, get a ring tempt, get a young hero roll.
Individually, those are 2 good pieces of value. I think a ring tempt is maybe not quite worth 2 mana, and a young hero roll itself not really worth 2 mana. So let's try and smush them together. Except the young hero roll is going to make your creature bigger, which then, in some sense, makes it worse as a ring bearer because the ring bearer has Skulk.
Yeah, as the hero kind of lives up to their destiny, they become blockable again. A big part of the ring value is leaving it on like a 1 or a 2 drop, so you can keep hitting, you can keep looting, and they have to go on the same thing. The ring tempts you, and then you attach a young hero roll to that ring bearer.
Yeah, very true. You can't spread it out. Yeah. I think on one hand, I could maybe see the thought of this is a battle that on the front side grants something evasive to your creature, and so it makes it easier to defeat. I think we saw that in March of the Machine, where the battles that like killed something or bounced something, they were more overcosted because they made themselves easier to defeat. And so that maybe is a little bit of what's going on here, that Glorfindel should be a little bit easier because you've got this, you give Skulk, you make it Skulk and or harder to block.
Yeah, that's true. There's like an extra point or 2 of toughness on this battle because like you put this on your 1 or 2 power creature, it probably gets in and hits the Battle of Weathertop this turn, and then has a decent shot. It's going to grow, but has a decent shot of also hitting next turn. And then you go right over to Glorfindel. And when we hit Glorfindel, it has backup, so it can give an ability to that ring bearer. At the beginning of your end step, if this creature attacked this turn, return target creature with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Even if my ring bearer doesn't survive, like I attack with 2 or 3 creatures on that second swing, I flip the Battle of Weathertop. Whichever creature did survive becomes part of the rescue team, I guess, and rescues the one creature that did get blocked, that did die. That's a little convoluted to say out loud, but
yes, it is interesting to have this backup ability on that's post combat.
Yeah, that's true.
Where we didn't really see that in March of the Machine. Normally, you were like, okay, I want to play this. I want to give my creature Death Touch and attack. This is always going to happen post combat, but it's still set up in a way that it does exactly what you described, where you put it on the thing that survived, and you still get that value.
Yeah. The thing that survived is like, no, I have to go back and save them.
Yeah.
Then you end up with an extra creature. You probably got a creature back from the graveyard. Now you've got a squad of 3 or 4 little guys all ready to attack. You haven't spent a lot of mana. So yeah, you're just kind of going wide. Got your whole team.
I think that's spot on.
Thanks for that card. Next up is from Silly Philly. And I see a TARDIS in this art, so I know we're getting a little bit of Who stuff. The card is called Travels Through Time and Space. It's 3 white blue for an instant. at whatever rarity this is, mythic. It has domain. Choose one or both where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Okay, so I've got 2 abilities here, but they're both driven by domain. Exile up to X non-land cards from your hand or graveyard. Put 3 time counters on each. If they do not have suspend, they gain suspend. And then time travel X times. The flavor here, that's what I am. Just a traveler. Imagine it. No tax, no bills, no boss. Just the open sky. 10th Doctor. Let's just lock X at 3 just to read this card again. Exile up to 3 non-land cards from your hand or graveyard. Put 3 time counters on each. If they don't have suspend, they gain suspend. And then time travel X times. And then time travel 3 times. So I exiled 3 cards from my graveyard. They all have 3 time counters on them, and then I time travel 3 times so I can instantly get one of those back out. Or I can spread
all
it out
3
if I
of
want
them.
to. Oh, time travel is on each card?
Hold on. Okay, so I've got it pulled up. Time travel, parentheses, for each suspended card you own and each permanent control with a time counter on it, you may add or remove a time counter.
Oh, this is nuclear. Yeah, I thought I was getting 1 free spell, but no, if I domain for 3 or 4 or 5, I'm casting 3 or 4 or 5 spells from my hand or graveyard now.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be that you graveyard it. It could just be like, I've got Progenitus in my hand and yeehaw.
Yeah, this is intense.
The difference between 2 domain and 3 domain is massive.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, and the 3 domain, it's not the kind of thing where, hey, at 5 you go crazy. At 3 you go crazy, and at 4 and 5 it's just like, way over the top. This is like an 8 mana thing to me or something. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a couple of Tali triggers.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some world where the quality of the thing you get to suspend is also controlled by the domain. Maybe that puts it in the 5 mana range, but as is 5 mana, I really want to cast this spell.
I mean, it's even an instant. I'm trying to think of a case where this is not an excellent card. If you are just a 2-color deck, it's still kind of okay, because I sort of like Snapcaster 2 cards out of my graveyard, but next turn. Like suspend 1 2 cards from my graveyard, which is, I think, in the range of like cool card that you might have to work to make work, but still very worth it.
You could be doing this with Omniscience, with Moonshaker Cavalry, with Iona. Like you can do the bombiest of bombs to put on suspend, and you just paid 5 mana for all of it.
Yeah, even like kind of modest spells, like if I get like a divination and a 5/5 and a removal spell back, like getting all that for 5 mana on all the setup was either have it in my hand or my graveyard. Whew.
That's Cruel Ultimatum, baby.
The flavor text: no tax, no bills, no boss, just the open sky. Yeah. You can do whatever you want when you cast this spell.
Absolutely.
Whew. Yeah. Powerful. You've been getting all the double-sided cards. I don't know how we staggered this that we're making you read all the cards, but we got the guest on, and we're getting as much out of work as we can out of you.
All right. So next card here from Occam's Razorback.
Yeah.
We have Timeline Invasion. There's 1 blue, red, white, so 4 mana total, and Jeskai colors for a battle. Also a siege, so again works like March the Machine. When Timeline Invasion enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent with 3 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. And that's a 5 defense battle. So a little bit of a timeout. for a 4-mana battle. So not too shabby. Let's see what the backside is if you can defeat it. We get a creature, Dalton Eel's Temporal Shifter, legendary creature Time Lord. And we have an activated ability, 2 blue-red, tap, time travel, activate only as a sorcery, or 4.
I did learn in the Doctor Who episode, I've not watched a lot of Doctor Who, that there are a lot of Time Lords that are not Doctors.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of villains that are Time Lords. There's like a whole planet that has like, maybe not all Time Lords, but a lot of people who are Time Lords on it.
Okay, so this could be within the Whoverse yet.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier. Any battle that removes something sort of also sneakily removes some of the defense from it. Like this has 5 defense, but you're getting rid of a blocker, which is going to make this easier to flip. So even though it has 5 defense, it removes something. I think the interplay between these two sides is actually pretty appealing. Because... Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I had the exact same thought. Yeah, can you get?
Oh no! Wait, it does. Maybe. Yeah. Does time travel doesn't let you slow your opponent's stuff? Oh man. Okay. So yeah, for each suspended card you own and each permanent you control with a time counter on it, you can add or remove. I thought we were gonna timeline invade, suspend, their Emrakul, and then this guy is gonna dedicate their life to time traveling every turn to keep Emrakul away. But no, you can only do it to your own stuff. So time travel is mostly to remove time counters. You're not usually adding time counters. Yeah, this is like pretty much in line with what I remember of playing with the Battles Unlimited. I pay some mana, I got to do a little bit of work, and then I get a pretty good thing on the backside.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with a 4/4. The card Suspend, which is actually only 1 blue mana and instant, but it only gets creatures and it's only 2 time counters. So this is definitely better in multiple ways than that.
Yeah, non-land permanent and 3 time counters. Battles of sorcery speed. Yeah, so I'm paying 3 colors, which is maybe one of the bigger hurdles to making use of this card.
Yeah, that is pretty restrictive.
If I'm playing those colors naturally in my commander deck, or if this is like a 3-color format with a lot of fixing or something like that, that casting cost might be the biggest, the thing that makes this hardest to just like throw in any deck. And the time travel cost, I guess we already learned today how little I knew about time travel. And having to pay 4 for that time travel at sorcery speed, it seems really fair. Like, maybe it's because we just came off of one of the most busted cards in a while, but this is all the way on the other end of like, this is like a good, honest, rare battle. This is something that you could put in a limited format, and people will pick it. You're getting rewarded for your 3 colors, but you're not breaking the game in half.
Yeah. Well, so you pay 4 mana for this, and you kind of get something off the board. But that thing will come back. And so kind of trying to strike the balance between, okay, do I commit 5 power worth of attacking to this battle to get more material, or do I remove this and then try to win the game quick enough so that the fact that this is temporary doesn't matter?
Yeah, there is kind of that aspect to it where this is, if there's only 3 turns left in the game, this is just a Vindicate or something. And you could just go face and finish the game off. There's one Doctor Who card that a rotating fireplace that you can pay 4 and tap to time travel as a sorcery. So paying 4 mana, it seems to be the honest price for repeatable time travel.
Okay. But I do think at that point you're really hoping that you're like ticking down 2 suspend cards and also keeping a vanishing thing around. If that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
If I just got 1 suspend card, I presumably got a cheap price, and so if I have to pay a bunch of mana to get it, then I'm losing the advantage I gained by playing the suspend card. So I really better be all in. If I'm all in, I definitely want that repeated time travel.
Yeah, that's a good point. That putting 4 mana on this time travel means that Like, I don't know. I played some big flyer that's normally 7 mana and now costs 2 mana to suspend for a couple turns. If I have to pay 4 more mana, now I'm just sort of paying the cost that I could have paid originally. Yeah, that's a good point.
If you're doing the thing, then all of a sudden that 4 mana starts to look worth it. So,
yeah, I guess it's kind of a question with battles. In my mind, a lot of the backside of the battles are pretty forgettable. They're like big creature that has some ability. If we're trying to stress that the ability is the cool part, then we might want to like bring down the size and also bring down the time travel cost. I think you're right. It's hard to make a lot of use out of this time travel ability.
mm-hmm.
All right, next up from MDub, we've got Tragic Flaw, which is going to cost you just 1 mana for Kindred Enchantment Snake Aura. We got Umbra Armor. If enchanted creature would be destroyed, instead remove all damage from it and destroy this aura. When Tragic Flaw is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, create a cursed roll attached to the creature it was enchanting. By Tragic Flaw, at first I was expecting this to be something that I'm going to like mess with my opponent's creature, but it's more like you're a cursed hero or something. You've got this armor on you. When the armor goes away, you become cursed. Oh, wait, so that turns you into a 1/1.
Yes.
Okay. Huh.
Nay, it's not the wicked one. Yeah, it's the first one.
It still prevented you from dying. So it's sort of like maybe in the neighborhood of like giving persist to a thing. Like when it dies, it's going to come back, but small.
Yeah. I think the first time I saw this card, it made me think of the Wilds of Eldraine card, Ariette of the Cursed Apple.
Oh, okay.
That wants you to have auras enchanting your opponent's creatures. Maybe especially at the commander table where it's this kind of poisoned apple, so to speak, where you're like, hey, yes, I'll give your creature this protection, and so it can be attack and be aggressive. But if it happens to die, then sorry, it's just a 1/1 now. That was the deal. And my aura is still attached to it, and so Ariette still gets to drain you because I still have an aura on it.
Okay, yeah, Ariette. Each creature that's enchanted by aura you control can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. Yeah, you could defenderize your opponent's creatures with Tragic Flaw within an Ariette deck. Ariette just kind of likes enchantments in general. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of auras you control. So I could even consider just putting this on my own creature to keep it around. And if my creature dies, well, it comes back and it's still enchanted. So I'm filling the game with a lot of enchantments.
Definitely. And it is a little bit below rate, I would assume, on the putting it on your own creature. I would have to check if in the Zendikar block there was a card like this that was just white for totem armor. But I guess the flexibility of also being able to kind of get one of your opponent's creatures maybe makes it worth it overall.
The totem cards, all the Umbra ones, would usually give you something that's just good now and then goes away. So like Hyena Umbra, +1/+1 in first strike is your single mana white Umbra.
Oh wow, that's even more than I would have expected.
So your creature's a little stronger while this enchantment's still around, and then when the enchantment goes away, you just have your stock creature. This Tragic Flaw doesn't give you anything on the front, is Umbra Armor, and then makes the creature worse when they come back. So I guess that's yeah, this is worse than a Hyena Umbra or an average Umbra in like a base case, putting it in a deck with some basic creatures. But maybe the idea is that I want to enchant my opponent's stuff. Maybe Ariette is the home for this. Maybe you just got it and won. You can't escape my aura magic. Even if you sack your own creature, it's going to come back again, but cursed.
You're still going to be drained of life.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a twist on the fact that it was renamed in something that maybe has a little bit more of a sinister undertone and was trying to make a more sinister take on a card with the ability.
It's top level funny card, funny submissions to this challenge, and then as we look at it, it's kind of a bad Umbra. But maybe that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's our next one here?
All right, our next card here is Lumix Transmitter. It's 1 blue for an artifact creature Cyberman.
Oh, hell
2/2. So some more Doctor Who stuff going on. And we've got a couple abilities here. A protection from Cybermans, so it can't deal damage to itself at the very least. Toxic 1.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever Lumix Transmitter is blocked by a creature, turn that creature face down. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature.
Oh. Oh, yeah, so this is like our rocket, right? You try to block
Very
me.
similar.
Okay. Yeah, so I got my 3-mana 2/2 protection for Cybermans. If that's how plural Cybermen, like if it's Cybermans, I'm just more excited. I'm just happy about that.
Like foods.
It's Toxic 1, so it's like kind of okay at hitting the opponent. And then whenever it becomes blocked, it turns that creature face down into a Cyberman, which this transmitter, the creature we're talking about, has protection from. So you block me, your creature is going to get penalized, and also isn't going to kill my guy.
And it's just a 2/2, so this is just going to win in combat.
Oh yeah, that's true, and it will just kill it. Unlike, yeah, you're right. Unlike Rocket, who didn't kill the creatures that blocked it. Huh. So I guess, we can do 3-mana 2/2 unblockable as a blue creature. That's like a Phantom Warrior or whatever. Like that's like a pretty legal thing to do.
Yes.
It has Toxic 1, so we're creeping on Phantom Warrior just a little bit. I don't know that Toxic 1 on a 3-mana guy is like that offensive. And it's a rare, so it can be funky. And then it's like, if you don't want me to be unblockable, if you are at, 8 or 9 poison, feel free to just like sacrifice creatures to not get hit by this.
Yes.
Yeah, so it will have a hard time closing the poison game, but is before then maybe sort of an unblockable poison creature.
Yeah, and I guess in Commander, the difference between 2 power hitting and 1 poison counter is actually substantial. In a regular 1v1 game, that's the same rate. But if you got 40 life, this is letting it through is going to get you dead pretty fast.
Yeah, and some of the poison builds, that I think we got a lot more poison flexibility with All Be One because we have a bunch of proliferate cards that are really good. But the getting started part of poison for blue is still a little tough. So this transmitter might allow me to like spread out like 1 poison on each opponent over the first couple turns. And then now I can go nuts proliferating and ending the game.
Absolutely. So maybe 4-mana Atraxa's newest favorite card here in Lumix Transmitter.
If I know my opponent is like a bluish proliferate deck, now it becomes like more interesting earlier in the game whether I want to just throw things into the Cyberman wood chipper. Because I maybe don't want the first poison counter. I really want to stop getting that first poison counter. Lumix seems to be an evil character, a business tycoon and CEO, director and co-founder of Cybus Industries, and the creator of the Cybermen.
Oh.
Upon his upgrade, he is designated the Cyber Controller.
This is his emissary.
Yeah. I think because of All We Won, this card does have a role to me, and its clause is really novel. You play this card against your opponents, and they read it and they're like, "Oh, uh-oh." Not in the game's over right now way, but in that's stronger than I first thought it was. It's an entertaining card to drop on the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I kind of like how it plays very similarly to how I would expect maybe a blue Phyrexian poison card to play, but has a different kind of flavor coat of paint, but that still makes sense in the Doctor Who universe as well.
Yeah, we want to have some Doctor Who expansion thing like 2 years from now. And those commander decks or those bonus cards, like they really like to bring back old mechanics and put them on new cards. And here's a way to put like one toxic thing out into the commander ecosystem, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Next up from Dylan, we made you read a whole bunch of double face cards, and I'm looking at a whole bunch of spoiler text that I think might be more than all those cards combined. So, Dylan has gotten revenge for you, and is making me read all these cards here. Banner of the Resistance, which is going to cost you 5 generic mana for an artifact equipment at rare. It's equip 3, but it has For Mirrodin, which is the new mechanic. When this equipment enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 red rebel creature token, then attach this to it. 5 mana, I get a 2/2, and this comes pre-equipped. And then whenever equipped creature attacks, discover 3, then strengthen your bond.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Uh-oh. Before we get into strengthen your bond, just like a quick recap here. This is a 5 mana 2/2 that when it attacks you, discover 3, which is, to me, not quite good enough yet. So we're expecting strengthening your bond to be like a pretty big effect.
Absolutely. No stat boost on the equipment at all. This 2/2's vulnerable.
Yeah.
If it's attacking and without any other help, I'm hoping it gets indestructible or something.
Yeah, I'm expecting something pretty good. Now, it doesn't have to be incredible, but pretty good out of strengthen your bond here. So strengthen your bond is like a play aid, so like a dungeon or day night or one of those kinds of things. The initiative. As you strengthen your bond, you get an emblem named the Hero's Bond if you don't have one. Then your emblem gains its next ability, and you bond 2 unbonded creatures you control if you don't have any bonded creatures.
Sneaky soul bond. Here we go.
Each player can have only 1 bond at a time. It's not bound. We're not soul bound. We're bonded. Very important difference. You can have as many soul bounds as you want. You can only have 1 pair of bond pair. So it's a little bit like the ring bearer, get the little ring tracker. Except instead of just 1 ring bearer, you have like a pair, a bonded pair.
Dynamic duo.
Yeah. All right, so let's check out this emblem. It has 4 levels. Hey, just like the ring. Each creature in your bond is legendary and gets +1/+1. Level 2, each creature in your bond has indestructible and trample if it attacked this turn. You were asking for some indestructible.
Here we go.
Level 3, whenever a creature in your hand deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And then level 4, your bonded creatures are bonded in all zones and become your commanders. What? If they would leave the battlefield, you may put them in the command zone. You can cast them for your command zone for additional 2 for each time they have been cast from that zone.
I hope this 2/2 red rebel creature token is ready for the job of commander.
These seem quite good compared to the ring abilities. Each creature in your bond is legendary, gets +1/+1. I guess the unblockable, maybe that's comparable. Maybe +1/+1 is either better or not. Each creature in your bond has indestructible and trample if it attacked this turn. That's good because you're supplying the creatures.
The ring gives kind of pseudo unblockable.
Yeah,
this is pretty unblockable too, in that your creature's not going to die when it attacks.
Yeah. It's the safe half of unblockable more so than the guaranteed hit side. But the trample gets you pretty close to a guaranteed hit. I guess if your opponent has like a 6/6 alien from earlier, maybe you're just like swinging your arms and it's holding you back by putting its palm on your forehead. And then whenever a creature in your bond deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And then your bonded creatures become commanders and are bonded in all zones. Maybe the trickiest thing is that you kind of need a second creature to form this bond. Let's say I just have a 3/4. Then I play this Banner of the Resistance. It creates a rebel. They both attack. I discover 3. So I guess maybe that even gives me a chance to find someone to bond with. But I'm already committed to this dino. Then strengthen your bond. They become bonded. And then each creature in my bond is legendary, gets +1/+1. So they upgrade to a 4/5 and a 3/3.
I mean, that's already pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm kind of imagining that my 3/3, my rebel probably dies here, unless I've got like a really juicy attack. So now my bond is broken. Which, does that mean that my dino loses the +1/+1, you think?
I believe it would, actually, if It would maybe deal the combat damage and then afterwards would lose the +1/+1.
But I discovered 3, so maybe I got an extra creature. I got my pirate. And then next turn, I can pay some more mana to re-equip the banner. And then go for another attack. And this is when it gets juicy. My Dino and my pirate are partners for life now. They both get +1/+1. And then they both have Indestructible and Trample if they attack this turn. Now it's really going to be a lot harder to break up this bond. It can still be bounced. It can still, you can get pacified, which is a little pretty bad for me.
Oh, yeah, that is really bad.
And I don't need more cards to upgrade my bond level. Like, I don't need to play, with the ring tempts you. You want a bunch of different cards that tempt you. This weapon by itself, banner, this can get your bond all the way to max on its own. So what do you think? Do you think there'd be a bunch of commons or uncommons that have strengthen your bond on them?
I would expect so, just because if you want any hope of reaching that level 4, you're gonna want kind of the opt that strengthens your bond. You're gonna want the lightning strike that strengthens your bond. But this does ask a little more of you for those kind of one-shot cards where, with the ring, if you had literally any dork around, you could... And I guess you always advance the emblem no matter what.
Yeah.
Another weird thing maybe is if you kind of get to do it with the first one, where you played your opt that strengthens your bond, and you bonded together a 1/2 and a 2/3.
Yeah.
If those don't die, and those are kind of it, you're locked in.
And, even like a white mana or 1 and a white for strengthen your bond is already a card, I think, because it gives 2 creatures +1/+1.
I agree. I think one level of bond strength is worth more than one level of ring bearing. For sure.
Yeah.
And it's also got at least a couple bonus points here. Between Mirrodin and I guess Discover. The challenge maybe doesn't count Discover, so that half a point. But maybe we get a 1.5 for a ring bearer variant mutation.
If Dylan had submitted this card before the ring tempts you, it would have just been too crazy. Does that make sense? It's because Dylan has identified something that came out this year and built on it. That's what makes this like a good fit for the challenge.
Oh, absolutely.
It didn't blow our mind too hard, just a little bit.
That's the game, right? Is blowing players' minds the correct amount.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I was playing some new Ixalan with some people who are like kind of casual Magic fans, and Explore to them was still kind of tough.
Yeah.
I think I take Explore for granted now, but I did kind of remember when Explore first came out in original Ixalan, like, this is kind of a complicated game action. I get a counter sometimes, I get a card in my hand sometimes, but now I've forgotten that complexity. And it's maybe some of the same way with the Ring Bearer, where the Ring Bearer was kind of nuts when you tried to read it at first. But now, I just kind of know how it works. I kind of memorized it.
Definitely. And I know on Explore, I feel like Arena has contributed that a little bit for me. We're like, all right, I'm going to explore, and the game is going to do the thing, whatever it is. It all just kind of does all the actions, like, oh, I guess I'm surveilling. Okay, here we go, surveil. Yeah. No thought required.
Yeah, you don't have to administrate it yourself, so it just sort of like tells you what to do, and you're like, okay, I'll pick where to put this card. Cool.
Yes. This is the kind of thing where I want to see some playtest decks that do this.
Yeah.
I want to see this on the battlefield. I want to play with this. It's interesting of having the 2 creatures and how you pick the 2 creatures. That maybe is slightly more complicated than just, I want to get probably a 1 power card if I have one, the Ring Bearer. One thing I would maybe be looking for if I wanted to make a set with this is to attach maybe some more specific significance to this idea of the hero's bond. I think one of the reasons that they kind of got away with the ring bearer is because that's so iconic to the specific source material that we all know. That you and I aren't super Lord of the Rings people, but even we know enough just from existing in the world of what's kind of going on here. And so I think a mechanic like this might ask for a similar level of cultural familiarity and understanding. And so if I were to pursue something like this, I'd maybe look for a match or something like that as well.
This is like, I would say, pretty well themed. You know, heroes bond, strengthen your bond, blah blah blah. But maybe we keep this in the folder until we find a setting where this exactly matches, like two characters that are growing strong together, that are rivals or whatever, that, you know, adventure together and learn together. And we rename it, we reskin it to really match that, like a specific world's flavor.
Yeah. So look out for Dylan's Shark Boy and Lava Girl set coming in 2024.
Alrighty. Incredible. All right, we got one more card. What's that?
All right, so it is Plea to Farika. It's black-green, so 2 mana for an instant, and it's got Bargain, new thing alert. Let's choose one. If this spell was bargained, you may choose both. Okay, and our two options here are target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn, or target creature gets +3/+3. Super clean, super simple, super crisp. I really like the kind of moving of Bargain into a place like Theros, both mechanically of having kind of artifacts and enchantments that you might be offering up to these gods. Like, so that the world makes sense to have this mechanically happen, and also it just making general sense with making deals with, especially, I guess, the black colored gods of the underworldy kind of gods, but maybe any god in Theros. I think it makes thematic sense, and I think it makes mechanical sense to try it out in a setting like Theros.
Yeah, you could sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. So Theros, naturally has those enchantments. I think the bargain flavor works better in that kind of sense, where if you tried to bring bargain to like a Kaladesh or like a Meriden, it's kind of weird. Like, what is the bargain? I'm just like handing over a mirror. You know, it's a little weirder what I'm bargaining with. Who am I bargaining with? I guess Jawas from Star Wars. I don't know.
Yeah.
Handing over like artifact creatures or something, you know, advanced like techno robots, a vehicle, that seems a little weird as a bargain. I'm thinking I'm bargaining, you know, offerings. These are I'm giving away a thing to a god or to a fairy or to someone else, something small, and then they're giving me a thing back.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
At a base level, I mean, we've seen like 1 and a black give -3/-3 until end of turn, which has been a solid card. Paid a little extra for my giant growth. I'm not totally loving, but I'm doing that because I want like a removal spell that I sometimes go blowout mode into a pump spell and a removal spell at the same time.
Previous versions of this effect that kind of let you do this plus and minus at the same time, they typically costed a good bit more than this. And I know, like, Return to Ravnica, Lorwyn, those are times long gone by, but if you can pull this off, this is objectively a high rate play.
Yeah.
A little board dependent, but yeah.
Yeah, this reminded me, there's like an old Apocalypse card this is kind of similar to. I don't know if you saw this one. Consume Strength, 1 black-green for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2, another target creature gets -2/-2. You know, Apocalypse is a very different environment. You're playing 4 colors or something like that. You're just kind of scraping by on playables. But then your reward for playing so many colors is that you've got these bananas gold cards that are just going to turn the tide and really put you over the top. And Consume Strength was good enough that I still remember it a million years later.
Yeah.
So I can believe that bargain's a fair price to pay to get a mana discount, to get a bigger effect. Yeah, it feels good. It feels like an heir to Consume Strength there.
Absolutely. I would happily draft this and try and get it to go off as much as possible.
Do I want to play this outside limited?
2-mana combat tricks are just not where you want to be in Constricted. And I guess this is a removal spell, and we see, like, for example, Virtue of Persistence get played right now, which is 2 mana for -3/-3 with some other upside that may or may not matter.
Yeah. In Commander, do I want, like, I'm already Golgari and I'm just filling up my deck. If I have something that cares about the size of my commander, maybe my commander is normally a 2/2, and if I make it a 5/5 and get a removal spell out of it, that's good enough. Yeah, maybe it gets close. But this feels more like just a rock solid, uncommon, murder people in draft kind of card.
Yeah.
Alrighty, those were all of our cards. It's always great reviewing those, but we also try to pick one or two that we each liked. So why don't we come up with some of our favorites?
I think I ended up really liking the Rocket Raccoon. I think that card plays very interestingly, and I would love to try it out in any number of formats, maybe not modern.
That was the spray oil over everything.
It's really hard to block. It's never going to die attacking in combat. Eventually, late in the game, after your opponent kind of ran out of 2/2s to throw in front of it, you could just clear the way for all your other stuff with that activated ability.
Yeah, it seems like really complete. Doesn't quite feel like a commander itself, but just like we want a famous character, we want to give them a cool card, and Rocket is that card.
Thanks.
I think I'm going to pick two here. I think one of them was the Battle for Weathertop. That was that green-white battle that, like, hands out a ring and hands out a young hero and then flips over to bring a little creature back. Once we started talking more and more about that, I became convinced that I was going to get my mana's worth. And then it gave me that vision of, I've got a deck with like a bunch of little guys, like a bunch of hobbits, a bunch of maybe some little elves or something that are all attacking, that are all teaming up Fellowship style.
Absolutely. I think, captured the thematic moment really well from the story, and also had some fun little mechanical choices to make.
I also like I guess you picked Rocket. Maybe I'll pick Lumix Transmitter, which was the other Rocket, the Cyberman that when it gets in combat doesn't oil things, it Cybermans them. I guess mercilessly kills them too. I don't know. It kind of felt like the right mix of evasive, good for starting off toxic. Your opponent does have like sort of an ability to slow down the toxic if they need to. I don't really know the reference that well, but protection from Cybermans made me happy. So that's the other reason I'm going for it. But I always love all these cards. There are a ton of cool ones. The backup clone was really sick. The ring bearer can't be your doctor was some crazy text there. Yeah, just a wonderful crop of cards. It's always great to read these.
Agreed.
One design challenge ending means the new one begins. So our December design challenge is going to be December. Continue our French theme, I guess. Design a monocolored card that produces an off-color effect through the combination of two on-color effects. We had kind of a discussion in the Discord of like put something on top of the owner's library and then the target player mills a card. I can combine two blue effects to effectively get like destroy a creature. We also got some bonus points on here. Juliet, who came up with the December, also had only two mechanics, give it either kicker or monstrosity. It's another joke that we were having that day. That kicker and monstrosity are like half of the mechanics that get made for Magic. And then you had one as well.
Yeah, continuing. I love the puns on all these challenges. So my bonus points are December, that the card should be snow or care about snow.
Alrighty, yeah. Do you have any thoughts of like some forbidden mechanics and colors that you'd be interested in exploring for a challenge like this?
Oh, I mean, I think the classic is the one that they've actually printed in the real game is this stuff like Ambush Viper in green, which is Flash and Death Touch, a nice little green murder. There, I guess green Swift Response maybe, but Oh, I was trying to think when you were talking through the challenge. I was trying to think of a red one because I feel like red is the hardest one to end up breaking the pie accidentally. I think that might be the challenge I take on for this month is just try and make a red one that has a nice little nasty effect on the game. I guess one that was kind of fun that they put in the Wilds of Eldraine alchemy set is the Overcooked card. It's an enchantment it's a red enchantment that makes food. But it also says you can't gain life on it.
Oh, okay. So it's the opposite of this challenge.
Yes.
It keeps itself in pie by using two things that color can do.
Oh, you're right. That is different.
You know what? If someone submits that, I'm going to review it. So feel free to go the opposite direction. That's the exclusive alternate rule for people who are listening to the podcast. You get to do the opposite of the challenge as well. Create food but can't gain life. Okay. But that's just about it for the podcast for the week. Go ahead and join the Discord to submit or to just talk to everybody. We got all kinds of stuff going on. There's a link in the show notes to find that. You can also go to beaconofcreation.com to see episode, like the cards we talk about during the episode. And sometimes we've got some other stuff up there too. Thanks for coming on, Platty.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. A lot of mind-bending cards today. Lots of different situations to consider.
Yeah,
I had a blast.
Anything you want to tell people about?
I guess just as usual, the Revolution Grand Prix happening every month. This month for December is the set Karsus. It's last month in rotation, so last time to play with the Crystal World cards, Rift enchantments that you can double up on effects, Crystallize where you can pick between treasures and +1/+1 counters, some creatures with sort of a flashbacky disturb, eternalize kind of variant thing going on. Very cool environment, lots of great cool cards that let you play lots of different colors. And I know I'll be playing lots of Karsus cards in my deck this month. Come on out to the Custom Magic Discord for Revolution, Grand Prix, or just playing some games or checking out the cards.
Yeah, we'll also get the link to that Discord in the show notes too if you want to jump in and look around. If people just want to see some cards, what's the best way for them to do that? If they're tempted by these Karsus cards, they want to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a sort of Scryfall equivalent that you can kind of search through. That's a database of all the cards that you could check out. I think it should come up on Google if you do just Revolution Manifesto. Hopefully the fact that you're a Magic player kind of slots you into the right of what you actually need when you search that, and you don't find anything else that maybe you aren't looking for. But I'm sure we could throw a link to that in the podcast notes as well.
Revolution Manifesto is either going to get you a bunch of custom cards or on a government watch list.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for reminding everyone about that. Maybe we'll see some people take an interest in that. If they want to get in touch with you, just on Discord is a cool way to do that, right?
Yep, that'd be the best spot.
We'll have you're in the Beacon Discord and just a million other Magic Discords too, so not too hard to find. If you want to reach me at Tim at Friley. And thanks for listening, everyone.